Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your big homie Doe checking in one time for the one time back with another episode of Donuts with Doe. And we've been on the road here lately, baby. Yes, I'm reunited with Trent and it feels so good, baby. We back in here.
Shout out to Trent.
And on today's podcast, we have licensed realtor, a broker with Keller Williams, Miss Dennifer Reliford. How you doing today, man?
I'm awesome, Doe. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
And Trent, DJ Trent, you're like my own little DJ Khaled over there.
Yeah, so let's just start off with, you being slanging houses,
Slinging houses.
realtors. I mean, that's a popular thing here
I pronounce it let's say slinging keys. That sounds
Slinging-
more dope.
oh,
Yeah, I sling keys.
okay.
Introduce people. I'm the connector. Basically, take strangers into other strangers' homes and protect their Rolex watches that they leave on the countertops and whatever else. Make sure their kids don't jump into swimming pools fully clothed at all, right? Because, So my day consists of all kinds of stuff. Every day is a different day. I'm always in a different suburb, trying to connect the dots back into inner city Nashville. Like tomorrow, I literally just got a call. I need Orkin to meet me at a property to treat that property, and they've, of course, got to have access. So since I'm the connector that slings the keys, right, I've got to let them in and basically stay the whole time they're there so that I can know what's going on. If there's any rodent entry, that's like my word of the week. If there's any rodent entry, areas, and then still be available to open other doors and show other properties to other clients. So sometimes Dennifer means stretched too thin in Swahili, for lack of a better term, but it's always fun, it's always popping, and it makes me lots of dough.
Hey,
No pun intended, right?
I see what you did there.
So,
I see what you did
so
there.
I'm always happy to do it. But no, I mean, aside from that, it's so rewarding when you could take somebody out of the rent trap and show them a new means of wealth. And we as realtors term that generational wealth. When you own a property, you gain equity, which is basically the difference in price of what you paid and what the current market value is for that home. Whereas when you rent, it's just money gone out. So we know our Nashville market is now rivaling LA and New York in terms of rent prices. So I always just do basic numbers, right? If you pay anywhere north of $2,000 a month in a 12-month year, the year has always been 12 months, then you are out of $24,000 of your hard-earned money that you will never see again as a renter. Whereas if that was a mortgage and you were paying down the cost of the loan to own that property, you would get tax incentives. And like I said, when it came time for you to maybe sell that property, or if you wanted to borrow against the equity in that property, you would not only have those tax benefits, for the whole cycle, but you would also be able to pull the equity, the difference in price that you earn. And that's what builds people what we term generational wealth. That's wealth you can pass down. That's like when our grandparents owned their homes and never even considered selling them, never contacted a realtor like myself to let them know what the current market price was. All they really stayed focused on was what they still, their balance from that debt. But that's wealth, to not be paying a landlord. And there's nothing wrong with being a landlord. I work with both sides, but I only work with people who are willing to help the tenants that they're renting to. I'm not going to sell you a property for you to be a multimillionaire off these people working and paying you rent. It's not Christ-like. It's not how I was raised.
It's not
and
Christ-like.
it's not,
She just don't feel it in her spirit.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a good person. You got to sleep at night. Karma is a real thing, and you want to build a legacy for yourself and have a reputation of doing the right thing. I mean, look at Sean Combs. We grew up idolizing him and the wealth he made, and the things he did for the artists that were signed with him. And there were those of us that kind of knew there might have been some shade in the background, but you never could have imagined that 25, 30 years later, it would all come to light and it would be as bad as it is, right? So I was raised to, walk with my head up. And that's not a snobby thing, but, have enough pride in myself to know that I'm doing good things, even on the days that I'm not doing the best, or, whatever, I'm still out there to put a good spirit out there and be the best person I can be. And that helps me help other people be the best person they can be. So that's just what I do with my real estate. My business is called Unlock Nashville. And I've kind of made a name for myself because I'm not just unlocking doors, but I'm unlocking things like this. Like we met in the podcast group on Facebook.
Yes,
We immediately hit it off and decided to do this together. You know, I like relationships that are forward moving. That's another part of my Midwestern roots. If it's not a fit, it's just not a fit. And it doesn't have to be a nasty thing. As an adult person, you instantly feel it, right? Like if you're in a room with someone and you just don't vibe, you just don't vibe. And the difference with me, and I think sometimes others, is that I'm not going to push it, right?
Right.
Because there's too many other people in the room that I can get along with and do choose to move forward with. So I don't like to spend the energy on talking to a wall.
Right,
You know, it's always going to be. I don't know why adult people don't just call a spade a spade. It's always going to be awkward. You're always going to feel like you're forced to say hello or forced in an interaction, and nobody wants to live like that. So if you're ever in a situation where you can't move forward with the person, and that isn't even with business. That could be romantic. That could be anything. You know, just like when you call someone for customer service, if you don't like the tone or like the service you're receiving, you ask for somebody else. I don't know why we don't do that in our adult relationships and keep it onward, keep it forward.
I think it's a little bit of childhood trauma in that, as the way that we just kind of push our feelings to the side. Sometimes you deal with people that are people pleasers and hate to say no, so it's hard to, break that chain of, just accepting people for who they are, what they're going to do to you.
Right.
So that might be a little bit of it, that how do I tell this person no type thing.
They don't want to be mean.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I've never been forced to be in a situation, to continue a situation that I wasn't naturally comfortable in, but I just think it's a waste of time to like I said, talk to a wall. If it's mutual and you can just tell the air is thick every time you're in the room together, then keep it moving there. Like I said, there's too many other people that you could do great things with. So
right. But yeah, let's travel back in time. I guess maybe let's see what interstate that would be. Going from here to Indiana, is that like 59 maybe?
So I can actually, because of where I'm from Terre Haute, Indiana.
She's a Hoosier.
I'm a Hoosier. I'm a Hoosier, definitely. Midwestern girl through and through. So I can go home two ways, though. From Nashville, you can do 65 north, which would lead you to Indianapolis, which is an hour west of where I'm from. So that from here, Nashville proper, to Indy would be 4 hours, and then it'd be an extra hour to get to Terre Haute. But that's straight interstate, right? So the way that I'm supposed to go home, in quotation marks, is through Clarksville. And so they would call that Pennyrile. And once I got past Clarksville, I would be in the Kentucky state line, Hopkinsville. Then it's an hour to Henderson. And then it's an hour or so to my Evansville, which is the state line again, where you cross the water. And then from Evansville to Terre Haute is 2 hours. That would be a total of 4 hours. And it's a straight shot. But
I didn't realize Evansville was that close to
Evansville's 2 hours.
Evansville used to be my little
That's a
getaway.
casino.
Nah, because where I'm from Paducah, but I grew up in Hopkinsville as well. So, that's not that far.
I definitely go through Hopkinsville, and I was going to say that's the thing. So if I go the Pennyrile way, I actually see the Amish signs.
Yeah.
For you know it because you're from that area, but most people have never seen the horse and buggy sign.
Right.
So that, and also the, speed limit drops down to like 40. I got a lot of tickets in undergrad trying to get home because you're literally crawling, but you're crawling because when you come around those corners, and we know that Kentucky is very hilly, just like Tennessee. So when you come around those hills, those mountains, you may be behind a horse and buggy. Amish country, strong. I go 40 miles an hour for at least about an hour, honestly. And then, like I said, I come up through, that's Henderson, between Henderson and Hopkinsville. Once I cross over Hopkinsville, I'm Evansville, kind of Princeton, Evansville kind of situation. And then it's just a straight shot up Pennyrile, which is our 3rd Street in Terre Haute. So that's the way that I'm supposed to go home because it's a straight shot. You only turn one time, and when you turn is what where you separate you and I. You turn right to go to Paducah,
Right.
or you turn left to come to Nashville.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
So
That's Interstate 24.
take us back to Terre Haute. What is a young Dennifer doing? What is interesting to a young Dennifer back in Terre Haute, Indiana?
Dennifer wanted to be a dentist more than life itself. Dennifer wanted to attend Tennessee State University more than life itself.
Tiger.
Dennifer wanted to drive a 1998 Chevrolet Camaro with T-tops
Oh wow.
more than life itself. Dennifer thought she was Mia X more than life itself. No limit chain.
So you were rapping?
No, I wasn't rapping. I just looked a lot like her, and so it became my moniker in high school. And I've always been a connector. I waited tables, so I made copious amounts of money in my youth. I mean, crazy amounts of money. You know, I just, especially for back then, the way that, you know, the value of a dollar has changed. So I graduated high school early. That allotted me more time to work, which allotted me, you know, the opportunity to be able to really save, kind of help my parents with books and stuff, because we knew that I would be out of state, but it's what we wanted for me. Well, I'll say my mom and I did. Mom wanted me to go to Oprah Winfrey's alma mater. My dad was like, you need to just go to IU. That's all he ever knew. And it was like it's our Vanderbilt in Indiana. So people where I'm from, it's either IU, Purdue, or Notre Dame. They knew Purdue and Notre Dame were way too far from us. And if I was going to travel that far, then yeah, it made perfect sense for me to cross the state line and go somewhere else just to get the experience of not being at home. But yeah, Dad was big into me going to IU. So it took him, I'm going to say, a year or two for him to really just fall into TSU. Brought me here, moved me in, you know, so funny, like the cutest dad. I can remember when we were in the cafeteria my freshman year, and they have like the parent weekend. He came, he got his little tray, he sat down, and it was like a bunch of students at the table, and the person he sat beside, he was like, so you're in the band, right? And their whole sweatshirt said TSU cheerleader, and that's still like one of the funniest stories. He was just, you know, trying to get into it and super excited and a little nervous. I was 18, right? Like now that we're adults, we can kind of go back and thank our parents or apologize to our parents for some of the things that we did say and put them through. But yeah, he was trying at that time. So it was a good fit. I mean, Nashville back then is completely different than the Nashville now.
Right.
But I could say that the culture of the people, you know, everybody was inviting. And I had my little job. I transferred. My parents did let me bring my car. I had a 1998 black Chevrolet Cavalier with 2 doors and leopard seats.
Not quite the Camaro.
No, not quite. Well, he did get me a 2-door car, but no, nobody was buying my Camaro story. So, yeah.
I mean, you said you was getting tickets anyway, going for this.
Well,
so
that was in the Cavalier.
Yeah, so if you had that,
and he bought me a radar thing.
Camaro.
I got tickets from having the radar thing on my dashboard.
Yeah, so you didn't need the Camaro.
Dad gave me what did you call those things? Radar detector?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 2 or 3 tickets just because the cops saw that. I've always been a speed demon. I do drive my Camaro now, and I do drive super fast, so there's that.
Yeah.
Because I'm always 20 minutes late to wherever I need to be.
I need you to be on time, man.
I try my best. I was on time for this because I had to drive from Davidson County to here, so I was on time for this.
I know sometimes you have to come to Chattanooga. You know what I'm saying? That's what I tell people that live in Nashville. Like, you come to Murfreesboro, like you might as well just go to Chattanooga.
So today I went from the Hermitage area to downtown proper to East Nastyville is what I call it. East Nashville, 37206. Then I came back up through downtown, checked on a property, and then I finally got on the interstate, stopped in Antioch to get gas and stop on another property, and then I came on through to Chattanooga. I do a lot in a day. So if I'm 15 minutes late, you're waiting or you're leaving, I can't, you know, I just can't. I can't do any better.
It's okay.
In this traffic, so there's that.
But take us... Spend a little time at TSU. What was your major? You know, what were your interests? You know, like, did you find love at TSU?
No, I did not find love at Tennessee State University.
What was happening at TSU?
No, and I've graduated 3 times, so it must be me. I'm going to take full responsibility. Did not find love at Tennessee State. Tennessee State was amazing. It was so fun to be in the environment of like-minded people who were your same age. from all different places in the country, and you all were there trying to complete the common goal, right? And I mean, I went to school with some amazing people. I mean, the Slim and Huskies guys, Robert Higgins, Quadria Webb, Lunsford Webb. She's on Bravo. I went through during a really, really good time and met some really fantastic people and lots of people who graduated and went to grad school up in DC. We just played DC. We played Howard last week, and it was cool to see the people that have like dual degrees. One of my really, really close personal friends has degrees from TSU and Vanderbilt. So she is always super excited during homecoming season because she gets to celebrate, both of those schools. And when they play each other, it makes her happy. Just TSU was no bad vibes. I mean, I literally paid out of state tuition, but I think it was so worth it. I think it was a great fit. I wanted to go to dental school, and I knew that Meharry was up the street, so I thought that I was, setting myself up for success with that, not thinking that, yeah, I got through high school top of the class. Yeah, I graduated from TSU, top of the class or whatever, but dental school is like a different ball game, right? So I sometimes get hard on myself because I wish I'd studied a little harder and maybe, got that seat. But I am a party animal and I'm very social. So the pocket protector lifestyle, it left me after so long, So the real estate fell into my lap. It's good. And if I decide to study again for the DAT, then I will. And if I don't, we'll figure it out.
No, the way these people be paying for teeth now.
Yeah, I could have
$10,000 for some
bartered
teeth.
my own veneers. So I sometimes kick myself in the butt for that, but I could still barter veneers. We'll figure something out. Shout out to Dr. Drake Dudley. He's my personal dentist, and we took just about every biology class together. So I'm so proud of him for getting through it, but I got tired of studying. And plus, I kept trying to study when I was in graduate programs. And I mean, that's hard. I'm always super hard on myself. That's just who I am. So even in my early 40s, I catch myself maybe taking on a little too much, maybe saying yes a little too much. And so that's a life lesson as I continue to age for however long that I'm here. I can teach myself that no is an option and I don't have to say yes to everything.
There's nothing wrong with being a high achiever.
Type A Capricorn, high achiever, black female, just all of it. And I can remember in undergrad, actually, it wasn't even graduate school. I can remember a sociology professor. I was a biology major, and we had to take non-biology electives, and they normally would make us take like 300 or 400 level courses. So it wasn't just like intro where you could sit there and daydream. You had to be attentive. And I had this dope sociology professor. His name was Dr. Robert Butler. I haven't even kept in great contact with him. I hope he's still around. But he told us, I mean, it was like a one of those 5 o'clock like night class kind of things. And it was a lot of girls. I don't remember a single guy in that class. But he told us, he was like, if you ladies keep pursuing higher education, it's going to make your life more difficult in more ways than one, right? Like, it's going to be hard for you to date. It's going to be hard for you guys to get jobs because you're going to be, I guess, like me, like super, super driven, maybe not take time for some of life's social graces. And you just need to be aware that it's fine either direction that you choose to go, but just always know that that's going to be an issue, right? And so I'm probably like 19, 20, how old are you when you graduate college? 21, 22, like super, super, young compared to what I am now. And I heard it, but it's one of life's lessons that I hear it every day now. Because, I heard it and I comprehended what he was saying. I can still close my eyes right now, Doe, and envision sitting in the class and hearing him say it, him walking back and forth and all of it, body language, all of it. But now as an adult, I get it. So has there ever been anything in your life where you heard them when they said it and you understood just what they meant, but it took you to maybe now to really comprehend the life lesson they were giving you?
Well, for me, as a person that just recently, I say recently started therapy. I started back in probably like 6 months ago. With me, I do a lot of reflecting and going back and looking at my patterns. And so my patterns tell me a lot about myself, about, things that I was trying to attain or trying to achieve, and the things that got in the way of achieving those goals. So for me, it's not so much, something that someone said or a life lesson, but it's my own reflections of things that I try to learn from or, gather more information from to go further in my life and in my purpose. So, yeah, that's where I find the most, I gather the most information is in self-reflecting. So,
That's really beautiful.
but so you go to CSU.
I'm done.
You're done
Don't
with TSU.
say go. I'm done.
You're done with TSU.
D.O.N.E.
How does Dennifer fall into the real estate business after that?
So I'm bartending in Green Hills.
Getting to the
Again,
money.
yeah. I normally find it in a room. I'm like a snake. But yeah, I'm bartending in Green Hills with, like I said, another cohort of friends. Same thing. We're just all driven trying to find our way. Everybody's kicked off their parents' health insurance. So we're like running around like psychopaths trying not to break anything or get sick. And I don't know, just one of the cycles of dental school. Most people don't realize that application process is a full 12 months. It opens up in June. They start kind of inviting you to start interviewing in like December around the holidays. And then you don't really know for sure until that you're going until maybe April to July. The next July is when you would come to begin your cohort. So yeah, it's a full year application thing. So I would always kind of start studying for the exam, give myself 6 months to, because I never worked in my discipline. So I would give myself 6 months to kind of revisit all that stuff, schedule the exam, and then start all that paperwork. And so my friends would be like, we can always tell when June's coming, man. You like, we could tell you're not like you. And then one of them one day was like, we're just tired of you not getting in. Like, what? We see that you're bright and we don't know what they're missing. We don't know what the disconnect is, but it was actually a particular guy friend, and he worked for the Keller Williams in Murfreesboro, and he was like, I've been selling real estate, and I think you would be really good at it. Would you consider it? And so it's like one of those conversations again where like you're looking at them like, what? I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was an office job. I thought people called like they call the Gap. Do you have a size 16 jean?
Wow.
I thought they called Keller Williams. You have a realtor to come over here? I had no idea. So I was like, do I have to work out of the office? Because I knew his office was way in Murfreesboro and we were working in Green Hills. He was like, no. He was like, no. But he was like, I think you know enough people it might work. I want you to consider it. So we kept having small conversations about it. He didn't overwhelm me at all. And with every conversation, my interest kind of grew. And so this was like in the fall. Him and I were talking about it. And I just said to myself, this is going to be my New Year's resolution. Once I figured out how much the class was, I was like, I waste this money going out to dinner every week. Like, I'm going to see what I can do with this. And so we kept talking about it, like I said. And then another girl that worked with us, her sister sold in that Murfreesboro Keller Williams office. And so her sister and Ryan knew each other. And so they were both like, yeah, she would do great. Like, let's, help her basically. And so that girl's sister sent me all the study materials for the test. I studied, I passed. Ryan and I decided that Murfreesboro might not be the best office for me to join because of the commute. So there was an office in Green Hills. It's like everything laid out for me. It's kind of like when, like I said earlier, you know where you're supposed to be. It makes you even more comfortable, right? So there was a Keller Williams office in Green Hills. I took the exam, got to a point where I could stop studying for the course and started studying for the state exam. And then went up to Keller Williams, met my broker. He's from Chicago, so that was that. Midwestern vibes. He immediately signed me, and that's it. He taught me all the contracts. He gave me so many leads. Like, again,
So when you say sign, because that sound like you was number one draft
I'm
pick.
definitely not Kanye, and I wasn't signed to Rockefeller Records. That's not what I mean. What I mean is what made real estate work for me, though, is that it was the polar opposite of what I had going on in my life at that time. So I was applying for dental school with all of the other top candidates in this whole country, to be either rejected or waitlisted. And most people, I've really just recently started being honest that I was accepted into a program, but I don't share where because the city was bad. I mean, this is 2007, 2008. Gas prices were $4 or $5 a gallon. Our country wasn't doing the best in terms of economy. And I didn't think, along with my family, we just didn't think I'd be safe if I lived there. This is a city known for high crime, major problems at that time. And we just, to take out those kind of loans and to commit to moving from Nashville, a city where I had already moved to and fit in so well, we just didn't think that it would be that in that city. And we actually went, they had an open house for the prospective students. And when we asked them, what area of town do the graduate students live on? And no one could answer us and give us a direct answer. And that plays into my real estate, right? Like, that's what I do for a living. So if you ask me right now, Dennifer, what zip code in Nashville would make me the most equity? And I can't answer, you're not going to want to use me as an agent, right? Because it's going to make me look like I don't know, or I'm withholding information, maybe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whichever way you want to take that conversation. So we were just like, no, this is a 4 or 5, possibly 6 year program. If I'm not going to be able to move there and transition and be as comfortable there as I've been here, it's not going to work. Dental school is like a full-time job. You are in class from 8 a.m. until 4, 5 p.m. You maybe take an hour, exercise, whatever, take a walk, step out, and then you're studying for the rest of the evening, right? So if I can't get from on campus, if I can't get from my classes to the library safely and then commute from the library to wherever to live safely, it's not going to work. For $125,000, I don't know very many people that pay cash for dental school, so I would be out of pocket those loans if I'm not going to finish the program, or if the program isn't going to be a good fit. Why risk it? So
Right.
that was a life decision that was very difficult because it stopped me from doing what I wanted to do. But who's to say it's what I was sent to do, right? It's just what I've always wanted,
Well,
but that doesn't mean that I'm supposed to do it.
in Proverbs it says, man writes the plan,
Yeah.
or no, hold on. Let me not misquote the Bible. Man writes the plan, but God orders the steps.
Absolutely.
So you never know.
It could have been. He hears conversations you don't hear too. So
right. So you know what I'm saying? He was ordering your steps in the
Yeah.
right direction. You planned on, being
Being a
Dr.
practitioner.
Teeth. And he's like, no, that ain't what I need you to do.
right.
I need you to help these folks with their, first time home buyer, and I need you to create generational wealth for people. So that brings us into, let's see, Unlock Nashville. So how do we get from getting into realty to Unlock Nashville?
I just kept seeing locks on doors, and it came to me in the middle of the night one night. I was like, what do I do as a realtor? And it's so funny because on social media now, everybody always has this thing of tell what you do without telling what you do, like describe what you do without saying it. And so I'm always, like I told you earlier, I introduce strangers to other strangers and show their homes. Realtors unlock doors. That's what our job is, right? We unlock your potential with the lending, the purchasing, the selling, the moving around, all of it. But there's more to it than just that. Like, I unlock situations, like I unlock get like making people know each other. I introduce people. It's just so much more to it. So the word unlock just kept coming to me, and I was indecisive if I wanted it to be Unlocked Nashville or Unlock Nashville. And I was dating a guy, and I ran it past him, We kind of went back and forth for a while, and he was like, "No, I think Unlock is better. Let's just do Unlock Nashville." And he and I didn't work out, but yeah, he's who helped me finally decide what direction I wanted to take it. And I started getting on Instagram and making posts and kind of. I was a little avant-garde, and now I catch that a lot of other agents who maybe even had something to say about my Instagram at that time, but I catch that they are kind of advertising more in terms with the way that I did. I knew that I wanted to do a lot with it, but I hid my face for a long time, and I did that for a plethora of reasons. It wasn't that I was ashamed of being me or being a girl or being black or any of that, but I just wanted people to want to do business because they liked the way I presented my business. I didn't want it to be based off of any of those things. So if you literally scroll to the beginning of Unlock Nashville, my likeliness isn't on there for at least the first year. And we just celebrated our 3rd-year anniversary, and there were tons of people that followed every day, messaged me for advice, and didn't there were people who knew who I was because I already had an Instagram account and it had my name. And so that was a thing too. I decided last minute to just create another account and not just change the name of my own personal account because I wanted this to be a little anonymous. But yeah, it just grew. I mean, it grew, and things happen in their own due time. Like we were just saying, I kind of start getting paid for posting for other people because I was advertising restaurants and eateries and bars and things like that. And so how I would do that, and I don't want to tell too much, but how I would do that was I would say, hey, if I put you in my story, I have this many viewers every day. If I put you in my story, what could compensation be, or like what could we do? And at first it was just free food. So I partied. My favorite thing. I partied for like a year pro bono. Everywhere I went, everybody knew. If I said Unlock Nashville, especially if I was going to a party that had anything to do with any of these business connects, I got in free. I got to eat free at all these new restaurants, which helped me when I have like out-of-state buyers or other people. What's a good place to eat in Wedgwood, Houston? Well, I just tried Flamingo or da 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 da, and so it built itself. And I always told myself I didn't want to pay for the blue check, that I could earn it, because I knew that I was on my way to earning it by building those kind of connections. So then I got with a broker that wasn't thrilled with my advertising for whatever reason, and I was like, no, I'm not changing it. I'm paid. If I don't sell a house, if I don't go behind the bar, this is supplemental income that helps me buy signs and do other things. I can live off this money. So again, like when you go into business with people, I think the reason why a lot of people go into entrepreneurship is because they have an idea and they want it to go their way. And that can sound as cocky as you want it to be. If I fail, it's because I failed. It's not because I'm working for somebody else and I didn't do it their way. And so I do kind of have that stubborn streak about me. And so I know how far to take a job when I'm working for somebody else. I mean, I know what I'm going to do and what I'm going to be like, nope, this isn't working. And so, yeah, I did not change my advertisement. And I had a production company reach out to me, and they were like, we really like the way that you advertise. We love, the way that you educate within your real estate, and you're not super salesy. You're not super pitchy. Would you like a podcast? We love, the name of your business. It's really catchy. Like, I even had Paris Hilton's mom message me and be like, the name of your business is dope. Like, what do you, she's kind of out there. She was like, what do you do? Like, what? And Miss Hilton and I talked a little bit, and so I just start getting business from it. And I just do the best I can, with what's presented to me.
It's funny that you said that about the one person that didn't like how you were, conducting your business, and it kind of leads to the saying where people say, "Old keys don't open new doors."
Right.
So that was kind of, if you look
well,
back
and I
at
don't like cookie cutter. I mean, I feel like people get bored with that. And so like I said, I didn't put my likeliness up there, which also didn't provide the old school realtor with your arms folded in a black suit, boring black hole sun Shout out to Soundgarden. Black Hole Sun Smile. You know what I'm saying? I never have ever advertised that way. And so I think the way that I advertise, people understand that I'm selling real estate, but I also don't post a bunch of closings either. Why? Like, why am I bragging about how much money I've made and what property I've sold? Clearly, if I'm still advertising and I'm licensed, you know that I'm doing well. Who would go to the state and pay all this money to be licensed if you aren't producing, or if you're not good at it, if you can't get a deal done? So I just would talk myself out of that, cookie cutter, and again, that's why I say I have to be very, very, very on top of who I work for, because I don't follow those norms. I don't like a lot of the same. I always like to curate something different and be different, and that's what's appealing. That's what catches people's eye, not cookie cutter. How boring. Like, that's gross.
Gross.
It's gross.
So, I mean, you're not one of those ones that have like radio spots and trying to, coerce people into selling their homes.
And I do have some affiliations with the podcast, and it's not all real estate. I mean, I have a hat deal. Shout out to Culture Kings. I have a hat deal. Most all of my close friends and clients that knew I was doing it, they know I run around town in a baseball cap. So there were people sending me hats when I announced that I was going to start production. I had been in a couple people's DMs, like I always do, and asked them, did they want any advertising space? Because the production company at first was going to do some major advertising in like New York, because New York, LA, there were a couple different spots that they said in meetings, but they knew that, like they said initially with me, Unlock Nashville was a catchy name, and they thought that they could do something with it. And they knew, they had followed me for a long time. I'm aware of all my followers. I know who you are. I'm never going to walk, and I'm never going to walk past you and not know who you are. And so they kind of, branded it to not just get affiliations with real estate stuff, because I don't want to keep it boring. I talk a little bit of culture and fashion and different things. So it's okay to not just be Ace Hardware. Shout out to Ace Hardware. But yeah, I can do other. Ace is a place. Yeah. But again, I was like, no, Lowe's, Home Depot. Like, I'm from a small town, Indiana, blue collar. I grew up and we went to Ace Hardware. So when they asked me, that's who I wanted to work with.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
So how does the podcast situation come across? Like, I know you said that they approached you, and were you like, how were you feeling about, talking?
Nervous. I had been approached.
Like, I didn't think that I would like podcasting so much. I'm not, let me say this. If you know me, you know that I could be
shy,
the guy in the back. I'm not really shy, but I can be a very observant person. You wouldn't know I was there.
Oh, yeah.
But then when I'm talking about some stuff that I like donuts,
you open up.
Or music, or some clothes, or some Jordans, I'm just, I come alive.
You can talk about Yeezys with me. Oh,
maybe not Yeezys.
No. Oh, anyway, my gosh.
I'm a big Nike. Old school.
Good. I know you won't be asking me to wear my Yebras. Shout out to Kanye West.
Yeah, old school Jordan, old school 90s Nikes. Yeah. But anyway, we ain't going to get into all that right now.
I am actually super shy on camera, and I'm probably this confident because I'm almost to the end of my first season. We're literally 10, 11 episodes in. Already planning the season finale. I already know what that layout's going to look like. We're kind of talking about season 2 already. My whole thing is I'm shy on camera because I have so much other things going on. And like when I first started this season, I was taping out of the Titans. They have a studio downtown on Commerce, and a lot of people, shout out Wesley Mortgage, they're one of the mortgage lenders that I work with. They provided the studio for the first season of Unlock Nashville podcast. We had some audio issues, and I'm forever grateful to them, but I had to, find somewhere else to tape because I couldn't keep taping and not have proper audio.
You should have hollered at Trent.
I know, I am going to holler at DJ Trent. Wicka. But yeah, so I had been approached by a couple different production companies that were wanting to do some reality TV stuff. And that's how I quickly knew that I'm camera shy. I'm camera shy. And as a girl, to not have like hair and makeup and be responsible for all that stuff, it's taxing. It really, really is. But I love my podcast. It serves as a place for my clients to go and get their questions answered instead of me keeping on renting a space to have like first time home buyer courses, first time, home seller or flipper courses or whatever. Instead of keeping on going around town and renting those spaces, the podcast is a place that you can go and always get that material or always listen and see if you can get a question answered. If it's if you're wanting to work with me, and even if you don't, I mean, if you want to listen to the podcast, that's fine. I'm well renowned for saying every realtor is not for everybody. I don't have to wait on everybody in Nashville, but I'm always more than happy to take on anybody that would like for me to assist them with their home buying goals. And that's just that. I love my podcast. And I do write, what I want the topics to be and like what we discuss. So normally when I ask someone to be a guest, I kind of have an idea of what I would want us to chat about. And there's a lot of things that can relate to real estate that people don't honestly think about. They don't put them together. Like I interviewed the Tennessee State men's basketball, the head coach,
Coach
and his
Penny.
wife on. Yeah, Coach Penny and I, we were in graduate school together. We were graduate assistants at the same time. So he and I have been family for over a decade. So I, of course, naturally love his wife, Lakia, and she follows Unlock Nashville on Instagram. And I follow her back and we talk a couple times a day. And I was like, hey, I mean, you have a platform, not just being his wife, but you're a mother and you do other things. You want to come and chat about like, women in real estate, and everything can always correlate. You just have to connect the dots.
Got you. And I know you say you talk about other things other than real estate.
They come up in conversation. I'm not a robot. You know what I mean? We sometimes go off course a little bit, but I can always bring it back.
Right. And with Unlock Nashville, can you speak a little bit about intellectual property? Even though, you know what I'm saying? Because,
I'm a huge proponent for paying.
Is everything.
Right. I'm a huge proponent for people getting paid for their intellectual property. And again, that's why when I caught myself in a situation of kind of, questioning how I had been advertising and I had been doing it and I had all these wonderful conversations in my DMs. I kind of went back and forth for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, was afraid to post, thought maybe, I do get stuck in a rut. I thought, well, maybe it is time to change it up. But I mean, it always comes back to what I want it to be. I can do a little bit of Dave Ramsey podcast stuff. And he's like me. He teaches people, the difference between equity and buying and renting and flipping and doing all those things. I can do some beautiful property, videos of beautiful properties that get people excited, and they maybe get excited because they know that might not be their first home, but it makes them excited to know that's an option and it's out there. That house was out there to buy, and if they did the right things, they could possibly buy sequential properties and eventually live like that. I mean, I can do it so many different ways. I can do me talking on my podcast with whatever guest and then introduce whatever they got going on. That's another way for me to be paid. It's limitless. It's limitless. And it's mine. It's my intellectual property. So again, I'm cool with constructive criticism, but if I'm listening to somebody that I know isn't going to use my services, I'm good. I mean, how awkward is it for you to tell me all the reasons why you would never have me on a podcast? Well, I don't want to hear that if I'm asking you to be on it.
Well, you just don't kind of fit the narrative of what I got going on over here. I mean, I like you as a person.
Yeah.
But
so awkward. So I really, and honestly,
talk about no houses.
I was on a phone call and got reamed about, my business and the way that I was promoting. And it wasn't just from one person. It was like 2 or 3. And again, it was people that were already licensed. So that's like awkward. Why are you worried about how I'm advertising? Worry about how you're advertising.
Have you put any money in my pocket?
Yeah. Like you're almost naked in your advertisements. Are we selling houses or something else? But that's a whole nother episode. Anyway. But yeah, I'm really stern about it, because if I wanted to be, cookie cutter, then I would work somewhere else and do something else. It's my business, and I made it to be my business. So there's that.
Got you.
Nanny boo boo. That's how I feel after I said that.
So, we have this segment on here that I call Those Half a Dozen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just where you give me your top 6 of, or your half a dozen of whatever category I just choose, you know. It could be from anything from sports to real estate to your favorite Yeezys. It
Okay.
doesn't matter.
All
It's just
right.
something I'll kind of pick out of the air.
I love hip hop too, so let's roll.
Okay.
Cars.
Cars. Let's go with your half a dozen favorite albums.
Albums. Oh, this is wonderful.
You
Okay.
said anything could be music, so we're gonna do
I
music.
don't ever put stuff. I mean, I love everything the same. I don't ever put it into real like
It doesn't
chronological.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
I
be
mean-
chronological. It could just be
Definitely Wu-Tang Clan, 36 Chambers.
what you know about some Wu-Tang
Definitely Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Forever. In 97, I still can remember when they gave Puff Daddy the Grammy for Album of the Year.
Wu-Tang
And that
for
was
the
for
children.
All About the Benjamins, yeah. And ODB was very upset and he stormed the stage. But now that we have, all the background information and footage and stuff, he wasn't just being irate. He felt some kind of way.
Right.
Now we all feel some kind of way about it, right? I mean, think about it. If you compare and contrast the two albums, Wu-Tang Forever has aged much better than All About the Benjamins. Are you kidding me? Like, what? Wu Revolution is yours? No comparison.
Black shampoo.
No comparison. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are two. Third would probably be everybody always says My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye, but St. Pablo was a pretty epic time in his life, which honestly was like 2016 that led up to when he had, his last major breakdown. That's a beautiful album too. What else? I really, really like Her Loss by Drake and 21 Savage. I think it got some Grammy play. I play that album just as much now as when it first, maybe even more now, because some songs that I probably skipped over and didn't pay any attention hit a little better now. Let me go back to like 96, 97. The Fugees' A Score, you knew it was pretty epic when it came out. What number am I at? I can go on and on and on.
I think
At least
I think
4.
No, you gave me.
Did I give you 6?
You gave
5?
me. You
5
gave
or
me.
6? I could go on and on and on.
You gave me
The Score.
36 Chambers.
Doggy Style.
Wu-Tang Forever. You gave me.
36 Chambers.
Yeah, you said that.
St. Pablo.
St. Pablo.
You could say Doggy Style was pretty epic.
Doggy Style.
Um,
You gave me Her Loss.
yeah, that's 5.
That's 5. So
Okay.
you got one more.
What's the last one that I want to say? What's one that I listen to all the time? I want to say something master. Ghetto Dope. Ghetto Dope has
Ghetto D?
aged. I
make
I
crack
love
like this.
cardio. I go on hikes. I live rural so that I can jump out of the house and start walking. And I was walking like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I normally let Siri DJ, or if I'm in the car, I listen to Sirius and kind of let them do their thing or whatever. I don't channel surf too much. I just let it roll. And Ghetto Dope came up through my Apple Music, and I was like, Jiminy Christmas. Some of those songs have aged so good. I don't know. I love me some 90s hip hop. Tribe Called Quest, honorable mention. So glad that they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year.
Yes,
Very, very,
yes,
very
yes.
long overdue. I'm kind of embarrassed. I thought back in the 90s when I was watching like Yo MTV Raps, I always thought Busta Rhymes was like an honorary member of Tribe Called Quest. I had no idea.
He's been on record of saying that it was almost like he was.
I literally can
honorary
remember the
member.
day that he was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And Ed Lover and Dr. Dre were looking at him like, what are you doing? This is crazy. I'm a huge hip hop head. I was raised single parent. My parents weren't married. And so while my mom worked, I watched MTV Raps.
Yeah,
They raised me.
I think all
She
of us
never cared.
80s babies was raised by MTV.
So I know the words to some crazy songs because back in the day, MTV did not segregate. They would play 2 hard rock, 1 rap, 1 country. They just and they would just rotate it
like I said,
all day long. Like I
the,
said, Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden.
on another episode, like you can't tell me you wasn't jamming out to Karma Chameleon by Culture Club.
Culture Club? Are you kidding me?
Right.
Yes.
Or like I said,
Warrant, Cherry Pie.
My song,
Tawny Katane on the top of the car in the White Snake video. What?
My
You ain't living
is,
life.
Millions of peaches.
Oh, that's
peaches
the United States of America.
Yeah.
That's peaches.
They were put there, man. They were put there.
My mom always says I could DJ, and that was one of my life goals too. I just never had time to get a turntable and do all that.
It's never too late.
I know. I'll be a 60-year-old DJ
playing
Wu-Tang Clan.
Now? Who said you can't DJ your open houses?
You're not kidding. I'm gonna have a slamming party. You guys have to come. I'm gonna have. We close November 15th, so hopefully we won't have too bad inclement weather. But yeah, it's gonna be over in Sylvan Park. I'll send you guys the details. It's a huge house. I'm so glad that she's buying it. It's gonna make her so much money, and I'm so excited. And she's gonna let me throw a party. So I'll invite you guys, and maybe I will get on the turntables. We'll see.
You never know. You never know.
It's yours. Yeah.
So I know that you are into educating, people on first-time home buyers, people that are looking to generate generational wealth. So what?
You got to stop renting. You cannot rent forever.
So what goals do you have for people that you come in contact that are or could be stuck in a rent trap? Like, what are you offering to them? What's the alternative? I know what the alternative is, but what are you saying to, let's say the 25-year-old that's maybe 2 or 3 years out of college and still renting? What are you saying to them? Or what are you saying to, people that you feel are stuck in the rent trap?
I don't know why I feel so perplexed right now about this question, but I just like to always let people know there's nothing wrong with renting. I don't rent shame. I term it the rent trap because there are people who get trapped in it. You might, for whatever reason, you might only make a certain amount of money and can't get out. You might fall in love with the property that you're renting and you just don't ever think about it. You know, every time that they slide a lease renewal under your door, if it's within the parameters of money that you're used to paying, you just keep signing and you don't ever even consider any other option. You might move around a
Unless
lot
you live in
because of your, but Murfreesboro has always had creme de la creme apartments compared to Davidson County, Nashville proper. Even when we were college age, we would always say, when you come out this way, they were cheaper, they were newer, they were prettier, with better amenities, more space. I mean, I could go on and on and on, and it makes sense that during my golden era of TSU, everybody wanted to rent in either Bellevue, which is west of Nashville, or Antioch. Well, but you have to realize I'm speaking 23 years ago, right?
Yeah.
At least 15 years ago. So, like I said, the rent trap, it can be a trap for a plethora of different reasons. And there's nothing wrong with renting. I just personally advocate for it not to be long-term. And I mean, with me doing the podcast and having all these different people on, I've learned a lot myself. It's different to sit there and hear someone else speak and not have to be the one that's doing the speaking all the time, right? So, I had Mark Neely on. Shout out to Mark Neely. He's a great lender. He's also an investor, and he's like me. He likes to work both sides. He likes to educate people. He said, if you're a person that likes a brand new car, for every $50,000 of a loan that you take out for that car, that's money off of your pre-approval. So even if you have all the perfect parameters, 680 credit score, you make $1 million every 15 minutes, blah, blah, blah. What did you work this job your whole life, whatever, if you have hefty car loans, that's going to take away from the amount you're pre-approved. Now that could work one or two ways. You might downsize on the kind of property that you buy. And for some people that works. For some people it's non-negotiable. And also you have to factor in, this is Murfreesboro, Rutherford County.
Rutherford.
I'm Davidson County, Nashville proper, right? So the homes are different. And that's no disrespect to either municipality because Murfreesboro's up there. Murfreesboro is priced around Williamson County, Franklin prices now. So I don't know what the apartments are doing, what you were saying a couple minutes ago, but a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath single family home is about $750, could be pushing $850,000. And when they tell me triple Blackman schools, that's even more money, right? So you want a new car. I've had lenders ask me before, you send me these people and they're driving a Tesla or a Acura and they have $60,000 in student loans and all these other debts. Like, where do they think the money is going to come from? And I'm just like, I don't know what these people think. They're just trying to get in a home. What can we do for them? And what would a pre-approval look like? So you can rent for as long as you want, but just know that every month you make that payment, it's going in somebody else's pocket, whether they're paying the mortgage on that property or it's a apartment complex and they do whatever they do with the money, but it's not coming back to you. It's not a tax write-off. It's just money that you worked and made to pay and help somebody else earn wealth. So the best thing to do would be maybe stop trading your car in. And I hate saying that. I'm a person that used to trade my car in every 16, 18 months. Whenever they would change the lights, I thought I had to have it. I thought, I needed to go trade my car. And so I have to tell myself no. And I literally had an oil change the other day and it was so not me to not go peruse the lot while they had my car in the back. I was like, no, we're not doing that because I know I've been wanting to get into flipping properties. And so again, as a single girl, it's my responsibility for the financing, right? The guys that I roll with, they like me, but they're not going to put the money in for me. So if I want to get in, I have got to front the money to get in, and then it'll be good after that. I can trade my cars like I like, but I've got to stop for a while to be able to get the loans to do what I want to do. And that's just how it is.
Well, I have another segment that I like to call. I just started this up recently. I just came out of nowhere. I don't know. But it's called The Last Donut of the Night. And it's just a phrase to kind of end on, to kind of process as you go throughout your week or to the next podcast. So I think for the last donut of the night for this episode is unlock your potential. Since you have Unlock Nashville, I feel like you can unlock your potential. And what I mean by that is you don't have to stay in one lane. There's always a chance to pivot and go another way to unlock your potential. So what would you say, or how have you unlocked your potential with real estate and your other business ventures?
I don't think I have unlocked my potential. I think real estate is ever changing, ever growing. I think Dennifer is ever changing, ever growing. I'm never too good for anything, but as you get older, you do want things to change and you do want to attack things a different way. So I think real estate is forever ingrained in my life. I think that by doing these podcasts and educating people and meeting people and all those things, I'm making my likeliness kind of tied to the profession. So I'm in too deep to walk away now. But a different task, like I said, is I would like to go into rehabbing properties, renovating properties, property managing those properties. And I'm not going to put my name with like low income housing because I think that's way farther down the line. I can't say that I can be the person that, provides that solution, but I definitely know that it's there. I can tap into it the best I can for now and then long term see where that goes. But the beginning step would be as a real estate investor, making sure that I provide housing at a decent price, right? Like I don't have to get into it to be a millionaire off of the backs of all these hardworking people that have families that sometimes fall on hard times and can't make ends meet, can't pay rent on time. I'm not advocating that, I want people to rent from me and not pay, or that I would allow, myself to be a slumlord or any of those things. But I do think that I'm knowledgeable enough and business savvy enough where I could make that work and also make it be a pivotal part of the community, such as what I'm doing with Unlock Nashville as a whole, even just the Instagram page. I mean, people like it, and those that don't, and we're moving. We're onward.
Got you. Man, well, Miss Dennifer, it has been a pleasure to have you on
Likewise.
the podcast.
Thank you.
Telling us about Unlock Nashville, about your own podcast, and how you're educating people on, real estate and, potentially getting into flipping some houses.
Yeah, we're going to flip some houses
because you know
this
what I'm
spring.
saying? You slang keys for a living. So
Slang keys.
If you're going to slang keys, you might as well flip keys too. Anyway,
Trey, it would have been so dope if right then you played "I Got the Keys" by Few. Oh my God, I've got to come back out here and we do a soundtrack or something.
Well, yeah, that's been another episode of Donuts with Dough. Like I said, it's been a pleasure to have you, Ms. Dennifer, on the podcast. And before we get out of here, please let everyone know where they can find you, where they can get educated, where they can hear this podcast.
Yay.
So they can, unlock their potential, unlock Nashville.
Thank you for having me, Joe. I'm so happy for this experience. Thanks again. My name is Dennifer Reliford, guys. I'm the CEO, founder, and mastermind of Unlock Nashville. You can find me on Facebook, Unlock Nashville LLC, and most people do follow Unlock Nashville on Instagram, and that's always been the easiest place to contact me. My company, we give complimentary credit repair to all people who may be on the fence, who know that they've maybe made some bad decisions in the past, and you're ready to rectify that and get yourself a credit score that would give you the credit worthiness to be approved for a home loan. Like I said, renting, there's nothing wrong with it. I just advocate for it to not be long term. So again, the first 9 people from this podcast, if you DM me at Unlock Nashville, I will get you enrolled in my free credit repair, credit restoration program. We'll see where you are, see where.
I might just be
Come on, Doe.
people.
You know you want to get unlocked with Dennifer. We'll see where you are. I'm always looking for people with the 580. Loans are readily available for, any clients that have the credit worthiness. I work with a panel of awesome lenders. It's never a no. You may not get pre-approved now, but guess what? That doesn't mean no. It means not right now. The bank is a business. And so if you ask them to borrow $50 and you can't assure them that you can pay it back, they're going to have to politely decline until you can show them that you're going to be able to pay those funds back. I mean, homes in Nashville, our average price is $478,000. So if you're going to borrow that kind of money from someone, you've got to prove to them that you are going to be able to make the payments in a timely fashion to keep your credit up and take care of that loan. So again, first 9 people message me. Let's get you in credit repair, and from community to community, door to door, I would love to get you unlocked. Get unlocked with Dennifer. Thanks, guys.
And just remember that delay is not denial.
Delay is not denial. Never know. You might get delayed when the interest rates go down. That's what happened to a lot of my clients right now. That's why I'm so busy.
So, if you want to follow me, Donuts with Dough, you can find us on all platforms. Well, me at all platforms at Donuts with Dough. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok. I just recently made a TikTok.
I can't do TikTok. My mom calls it TikTok, and I don't blame her. I can't do TikTok. But yeah, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, everywhere. It's called the Unlock Nashville Podcast. And like I said, it's just a place for you to be able to go and get some questions answered, hear me chat with some of my friends, socialites, other community leaders, and people in the real estate business. Help answer questions.
Also, if you want to follow the network, because we out here spreading positivity everywhere we go. You can follow Spread the Positive on IG. You can even look up Spread the Positive Productions on all streaming platforms, because there's a ton of podcasts that you can follow that are educating you or getting you fit or helping you have a big back like me and Donuts with Dough, like Donut Country. But anyway, if you would just like to tap in, just follow them on IG and every other platform at Spread the Positive. And like that, it's been another episode of Donuts with Dough, and we are out.
We're out. Peace.